Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick.
This is Justin.
How are you?
Doing well.
Excellent, man. Excellent. We're talking about your beloved First Order today. Yeah, so I put a vote to the patrons on my Discord for the Resistance and First Order videos. We voted for the Resistance Bomber and Kylo Ren. And a quick apology to those guys. I had a look this morning at the list involving Kylo Ren, and there wasn't a whole heap.
No, there was about 3.
There's about 3. And actually, there was a lot of interest in the other pilots. So I've just opened it up and saying we're doing a video on the TIE Silencer in general. By the way, guys, I had a few comments in the last video saying, oh, why didn't you include this or whatever? It's because we don't have a lot of submissions for these new factions yet. Actually, most of the submissions I'm getting right now are still for the original 3 factions. I think the hype train may have skipped over wave 2 just a tiny bit for some people. And look, I say to anyone that says that, there was one person saying, oh, why isn't a Falcon Bomber list? If you want to see one, submit it yourself and I'll talk about it any day of the week. Also with these new factions, we're going to cover the same ground over and over again. They've only got 4 ships each. So even if you do another Silencer list in response to this video, if it includes other ships, it'll probably get into the next video. We also don't have any list with the pilot for Avenger on the TIE Silencer. Not that I'm too surprised. I'm not really that keen on Avenger myself. It's a very odd ability.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of which, let's talk about the TIE Silencer in particular. It's essentially a jacked up TIE Interceptor, better dial, more shields. It has the same auto thrusters ability, so on the back of any action, you can take a barrel roll or boost. So any card that gives you actions outside of the regular time of doing actions is very, very relevant. So supernatural reflexes on Kylo Ren looks incredible, for example. It is worth pointing out that we already have access to supernatural reflexes on Darth Vader, which is interesting, but you have to remember that Kylo has a much better dial than Darth Vader.
Not only that, you're also going to be taking a damage with Darth Vader.
Yes, that's true.
If you do the boost.
If you do the boost, yeah. People are sort of down on Kylo right now. And I think, yes, in a vacuum, Kylo is worse than he used to be. Kind of. He didn't used to have Force tokens, so it's not really a fair comparison.
Yeah.
But with Force tokens and all the Force upgrades he has, I don't think that's fair at all. I think Kylo is seriously going to be a force to be reckoned with in the new meta.
I agree with you.
Absolutely. It's going to be very good. I don't think Initiative 5 hurts him one little bit.
No.
Also on the TIE Silencer, we have Blackout. Does what he always did. Reduce your opponent's green dice by 2 when shooting through a rock.
Now, just quickly on that, it says while you perform an attack here.
Yes.
So that means missiles and torpedoes.
Yes, which the TIE Silencer also has access to now. Sorry, I made a mistake in a recent video where I said, I don't think they'll get Proton. Yeah, they do. There was that scene in the movie where Kylo blew up Black One. Yes. I remember things. I make a mistake. I'm just human.
Exactly.
Also, recoil. While you are stressed, you may treat an enemy ship in your forward firing arc at range 0 to 1 as being inside your bullseye firing arc.
I'm very interested with this one. Initiative 4, it's not terrible.
No, not terrible at all. I think Initiative 4 is relevant enough. And it's a big enough point saving on Blackout and Kylo to make it relevant in my eyes. Combos with anything that cares about bullseye firing arcs. So Proton Rockets, Predator, Marksmanship, probably other things that we're forgetting.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy. Like, there's no card that says just like give like stress tokens to things in bullseye firing. I don't think that's the kind of like talents that we're going to get.
No.
But it is something to look out for every single time that we get an upgrade that talks about that. And Avenger, yes, the guy that nobody really seems all that interested in.
No, he's the Chewie of the First Order.
Yeah, after another friendly ship is destroyed, you may perform an action even while stressed. Look, there's no range restrictions. That's pretty cool, but an action in exchange for one of your ships blowing up is not a lot of upside.
Well, not only that, like, you can't do the same action again and again, can you?
No, you can't. Look, it's incidental upside. I'll give you that. You fly them alongside a TIE swarm. When a TIE pops, you might be able to punish your opponent, but I don't know. It feels so situational.
Initiative 3 as well.
Well, that's actually a good thing. Because the idea is you can focus up or target lock in response to a ship being blown up. And then the lower your initiative is, the higher chance you have of shooting back. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but
if he was a higher initiative, he could potentially arc dodge a lower initiative ship by barrel rolling or boosting. Yeah. But he still can. That doesn't make a difference. So yeah, it's fun, but Recoil, Blackout, and Kylo are all proactive strategies that rely on the way you fly and the way you build them.
Yeah.
I think for that reason, that's why most people are interested in them. And that certainly is true for what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So let's move on to some lists. First of all, you're working on something here with Recoil. Why don't you walk us through this list?
Yeah, so we have here Recoil, Backdraft, and Null.
Indeed.
Recoil has Predator, Advanced Optics, Proton Rockets, and Stealth Device.
Backdraft has Fanatical, Cluster Missile, Special Forces Gunner, and Fire Control Systems.
And Null has Outmaneuver, Pattern Analyzer, and Stealth Device.
Cool. So we'll get on to Recoil in a second. I just want to quickly talk about Null and Backdraft first.
Yeah.
Null, I find very interesting because he has a talent. I didn't actually know that before I started recording this video.
Yeah, when I was building this list, I was just like, well, that's good.
That's odd. Yeah, I honestly expected him to be Initiative 0, no talent. But then again, he's Initiative 7 for a big chunk of the game.
Yeah.
Outmaneuver seems like a lot of fun on Null. It's another card that can punish your opponent if they ignore him. And if they try to go for him, you can arc dodge. And that's really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
Pattern Analyzer further unlocks his dial. Yeah, you're flying at Initiative 7. You want Pattern Analyzer so you can S-loop and barrel roll and all that kind of stuff.
Stealth Device. Here's where I'm not sure.
Yeah, look, Stealth Device is a card that I feel like it's just extra bloat in a lot of lists, unless there's actually a really good reason to take it. And honestly, on both Recoil and Null here, I'm going, I think we can probably do a little bit better.
Yeah.
We can put Afterburners on Null. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's activating Initiative 7. I mean, why not? Then he can boost barrel roll.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
It's kind of
I
fun.
could also maybe put a shield upgrade on, but...
You could. I would steer clear of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Afterburners ignores the benefits of Pattern Analyzer, but whatever. It's Initiative 7. I'm very interested in that.
You can still do it anyway if you're not using Pattern Analyzer.
Yeah, they can boost and barrel roll and outmaneuver a little bit more. My gut says just cut away that modification and go it all the way down to 42 points as opposed to 50 points. Basically make him so cheap that your opponent is damned if they do and damned if they don't.
Okay.
In terms of engaging him. Because if they engage him first, then they're engaging your cheapest ship. If they don't engage him, he can punish them with outmaneuver, which I like. I like builds that can sort of push your opponent into a bad situation.
Yeah.
Backdraft, yeah, Special Forces Gunner, really, really cool. I actually made an error when we were revealing Special Forces Gunner. I didn't realise that you never lose that extra dice out the front.
Yeah, it's not insignificant.
No, you
not at all.
used to shoot 2 forward and backwards or just 3 forwards. Now it's 3 forward, 2 backwards, if you can.
Yeah, and with Backdraft it actually becomes 3 backwards.
Yeah, 3 forwards, 3 backwards. Cool, no worries. Now, there is no benefit with Cluster Missile with Backdraft. I don't think that matters too much.
No, I'm using it more to just hedge my bets against swarms.
I think that's fair enough. And that way you're going to get target locks out, Fanatical. Yeah, seems really solid.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Recoil. Predator and Proton Rockets is your payoff for that ability.
Yeah.
4 dice Predator in any part of your range 1 arc. I do question the value of this ability because how often are you in range 1 and not in the bullseye firing arc?
That's not an insignificant...
It's not an insignificant amount of time, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the one thing which makes me pause for thought here.
Okay.
Proton rockets, like firing sideways, is good. Like more times and abilities to use proton rockets feels like a lot of upside.
Yeah.
Just increasing the scope of when you can fire this 5 dice attack. You only need to be focused, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's not difficult at all to do it with this platform because you can boost and barrel roll anyway.
Yeah.
So your positioning is already excellent. If you have a focus, advanced optics can mean you can always guarantee to convert 1 result. I mean, guarantee unless you roll hits anyway, so who cares in that situation?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. I think what I would do with this list, if I were to make any changes, is I'd take off the stealth devices and put afterburners on recoil, which is the same points anyway, and that way you have a 13-point bid.
Yeah. I'm also considering maybe putting a torpedo on.
Proton feels pretty good. It means you're not in a horrible situation if you're not getting into range 1.
Yeah.
And that feels like a lot of fun. Yeah, there's a bit of flexibility here. Whenever I see multiple stealth devices in a build, I always think, oh, there's probably something better we could be doing there. I just think stealth device is a pretty low value card in general. That's just my feelings on it. Unless you have a great reason to take it, I'm not a huge fan. Let's keep moving on with this patron list by Disemboweled.
Yeah, this is 2 silencers.
Indeed. Recoil with marksmanship, prime thrusters, proton rockets, and stealth device.
And Kylo Ren with instinctive aim, prime thrusters, advanced proton torpedoes, concussion missiles, and stealth device.
Okay, and just talking about what I was just talking about with stealth device, I would absolutely cut them away here. Afterburners is way higher value on this. The reason for that is you're flying 2 small ships.
Yeah.
Just don't get shot.
Well, also, I feel like you kind of want a bigger bid.
Yes, 1 point exactly. So you could take away something entirely. The reason I say that is because 2 small ships, it actually changes the way you fly. It makes you softer to dice and softer to variance. It means that every single decision is higher. The stakes are much higher on every single decision. It doesn't make it bad, but it means things like stealth device, which is just a value card to help you in some situations, is going to be worse off.
Yeah.
And as you said, the bid, yeah.
Because I used to fly 2 TIE Defenders for a little while.
Yes.
And
you,
it was fun.
You saw what happens when you get into a bad situation.
Yeah.
Stealth device, unfortunately, is not going to save you in those situations.
No.
Like, you might luck out, and it might be the difference between evading 1 attack, and that's really good. But I just think afterburners, like, give yourself every single tool at your disposal to not get shot.
Yeah.
Is my instinct.
Rather than rolling to not get shot, don't get shot to begin with.
Don't roll at all. Exactly right. But let's talk about these ships in particular. We have Kylo Ren here with instinctive aim, advanced proton torpedoes, and concussion missiles. This is very interesting.
I like that.
It's very expensive. That combination alone's 14 points, which is actually not terrible considering the amount of firepower. Yeah. What's going on here is, under any circumstance, as long as there is a ship inside the firing arc, you can fire ordnance at them.
Yeah.
You have denying actions does not help because instinctive aim gets around that. You have range 1, 2, 3 entirely covered.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating to me.
Yeah. People can have hotshot gunners on their ships and you just don't care.
Nope, you just don't care. Exactly right. All the tricks and all that kind of stuff that you would usually negate ordnance attacks cannot be dealt with. Prime thrusters, an obvious include. Just unlock the dial as best you can. Make sure you always have actions. I dig it a lot. I actually think this Kylo build could be more interesting in different applications. I am so worried about ordnance build in 2-ship builds.
Yeah.
I want aces. I want real pure dedicated aces in this that can arc dodge. And this is not what Kylo's trying to do. Like, it's not your supernatural reflexes build. So maybe this alongside a bunch of TIE swarms, like all generics, like going for blocking and Kylo just wrecking them with ordnance.
Yeah,
could be good fun.
I was thinking maybe Midnight with some good upgrades as well, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this Kylo is 112 points. I'd cut stealth and make it 104 points.
Yeah.
And just leave it like that. I wouldn't. I mean, you could put on afterburners, but I think with this strategy, just have other ships that can help him out. Block, arc dodge, whatever. Just make sure Kylo can just sit in the back and shell your opponent. It's going to feel really good.
I think we actually have a list later on that does something very similar.
Yes, indeed. We'll talk about that in a tick. So I like the Kylo build. Honestly, I do a more dedicated ace build with supernatural reflexes and afterburners and prime thrusters. Just cut down the points. This style of list with 2 small ships, you need good anything that can help you with movement and anything that can help you get a bigger bid, because 1 point is not good enough.
No.
I'm sorry, Disemboweled, but I would really worry if I was flying something like this.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something else. We have a list here by Coda with Kylo and a bunch of TIE FOs.
So Kylo has supernatural reflexes and pattern analyzer.
The FOs all have Fanatical. They're all Omega Squadron Aces, which is the cheapest buy-in for FOs with talents. And Fanatical. Let's talk about this card.
I love Fanatical. It's just cheeky card.
Very cheeky card. You only take 1 point of damage and all of a sudden your attacks become just a bit more consistent. It feels like pretty decent dice modification for 2nd edition. And this build of Kylo I like a lot. 99 points, supernatural reflexes, pattern analyzer. It's just...
Yeah, he's not going to get shot.
I mean,
anytime soon.
You can slightly increase the abilities by giving him afterburners. I don't think it's worth the extra 8 points, though.
No.
Considering he's already able to boost barrel roll before he moves anyway.
Yeah.
It's too narrow for what it's offering you for those points. Supernatural reflexes on Kylo is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He can boost barrel roll, do a white maneuver, and then... no, he can't do that. I like this. It's simple, it's efficient, and it feels very, very vicious to me.
Yeah, definitely.
I dig this. Speaking of that last build, actually, I wouldn't mind seeing something like these TIE fighters alongside that, maybe like the cheaper guys. I don't think that last build is irrelevant, but you see the kind of difference. You're cutting down around about 15 points to make just the pure, efficient version of Kylo. And I think ultimately, in terms of meta play, it's boring, but I think the one with the more efficiency, the more different options, is going to be the one favoured by the tournament spikes.
Yeah.
Just how it is. Dig the list, Coda. Nice. Let's move on to a new list. These ones are by some of our YouTube commenters. James Kretzinger with Kylo Ren and 2 Omega Squadron experts in the TIE SF.
Yeah. So Kylo Ren has hate.
And both of the experts has marksmanship, targeting synchronizer, special forces gunner, cluster missiles. What do you think of this build of Kylo?
It's very cheap.
It's only 85 points. I like hate a lot on Kylo. I think it's fun. It's the cheapest thing you can take that actually gives you any kind of value. I mean, if we have a quick look, instinctive aim's 2 points, but there's no point taking it without any ordnance.
Yeah.
Heightened perception, nah, who cares? Predictive shot is cute, but I wouldn't go putting it on Kylo.
No.
I like hate because it's just insurance against getting shot.
Yeah,
of which Kylo already has some.
Yeah, not only that, like you can use Kylo to use his ability. That's the other thing we haven't talked about. Kylo's ability.
Yes, I mean, the fact that he's Initiative 5 and has access to Force is probably the most hyped thing about him.
Yeah.
But it's still good. I mean, you still give people, I'll show you the dark side. I know there's no blinded pilot like there used to be.
Yeah.
But I feel like any one of those cards, there will always be one that's relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not only that, like you can use the I'll show you the dark side, then get shot, use hate to recover that force to then make sure that you don't get shot again.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. It means you're basically always functioning with all your force tokens. That's really cool, unless you just keep blanking out over and over again. But let's not talk about that.
No.
Also, Kylo Ren being so much more expensive than these other guys means he's probably the favoured target. And you're sort of disincentivizing your opponent to shoot him. So I like that. The experts in the TIE SFs. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. If we had one more point,
we could get fanatical on both of them. Yeah. I would actually take off marksmanship because these guys have a lot of flexibility in the way they shoot forwards and backwards in those arcs.
Yeah.
I put on trick shot because there's enough coverage to allow that to get its value. Marksmanship, you have to be doing very specific things.
Yeah. Speaking of, we need to do like a t-shirt which says like, let's just chuck on trick shot.
Let's just chuck on trick shot. Just trick shot. Yeah, one point. I mean, if we put trick shot on instead of marksmanship, it's the same cost and... Yeah. I think it's going to have more relevant upside more of the time. I know I'm, basically this giant worshipper of trick shot, but it's because I've flown it like casually and competitively, and it's so good for 1 point.
Yeah.
It's so good for 1 point. Cluster missiles to help you with swarm, special forces gunner because it's awesome, targeting synchronizer to help fire those cluster missiles. I don't love that for 5 points, but at the same time, I don't think there's anything too crazy we could be taking instead.
I suppose instead you could put on fire control systems?
Yes, we could do fire control for 2 points less on each of them.
Yeah.
We could also cut them both off and then put prime thrusters onto Kylo and then have another 2 points towards your bid.
Yeah.
I like the idea with fire control systems, actually. It adds another 4 points to the bid and gets it to 95 points, which is okay.
Yeah, it's not insignificant.
Not insignificant at that point, yeah. But, nothing too much of a change. I like the idea of the list. I think the one thing that would kill this in terms of meta play is if the TIE SF is just not efficient enough. I think there is a real danger of that. 57 points each. I mean, it's good. it's definitely...
Yeah, Special Forces Gunner being 10 points. I think...
It's got to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to perform.
I think eventually we might be seeing, something else on there.
Perhaps. We'll see how it goes. The SFs are another very interesting topic we'll cover very soon on the channel. Let's move on to this list by Matt Gibbs with Recoil and 2 Omega Squadron Aces and one of those Omega Squadron Experts.
Yeah, so Recoil has Marksmanship, Advanced Optics, and Proton Torpedoes.
The Omega Squadron Aces have Fanatical and Advanced Optics.
And the Omega Squadron Expert has Targeting Synchronizer, Cluster Missiles, and Fire Control System.
So again, an Omega Squadron Expert with just a bunch of value stuff. There's no gunner this time.
Yeah.
But as a result, it's 10 points cheaper, and then you can fit everything else in. I think there is always an argument to not take gunner, as long as you have missiles. Targeting Synchronizer, Fire Control System, it's nice and synergistic. It means that those Proton Torpedoes on Recoil can be shot with Omega Squadron Expert's ability.
Yeah.
If you're focus firing a ship, and you probably do want to think about doing that, cool. You got that option.
Yep, and the Omega Squadron Aces are just good.
Advanced Optics, you're gonna just smash through results with that.
Yeah,
which is cool. I like that. Also, Advanced Optics on Recoil. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's nothing too crazy. I mean, obviously something like Prime Thrusters or whatever would be better, but we don't have points to play with.
Yeah.
So this time we've gone for a less synergistic build on Recoil, and I think there is worth having a conversation about this, because when we go like Marksmanship or Predator and Proton Rockets and this and that all work inside the bullseye firing arc in the situations where the ability doesn't work, and I think, stressed in range 1 is no small order, you suddenly lose value across all these cards. When you take Proton Torpedoes, you get the value out of Marksmanship, sure, but then you've got fail case scenarios. It means that in range 1, you have a 4 dice attack that converts a hit to a crit. At range 2 to 3, you have a 4 dice attack that turns a hit to a crit.
Yeah. It's not insignificant.
Protons at all ranges. Nice.
Yeah.
And I like that amount of flexibility. I usually, when people hedge their bets, I say, well, hang on, if you just fly and try and get your synergies firing, you'll get more value out of this. However, when we're talking about attacks across the course of a game, you're probably going to have opportunities to do both.
Yeah, realistically, you're going to have at least one shot at range 2 to 3.
That's it. Yeah. And if you get 1 or 2 in range 1, then awesome. You've got all the value out of this.
Yeah.
It's going to suck when you only have shots at range 2 to 3, but you still get 2 protons, so it's not bad. Yeah, I like it. I like the flexibility in this list. I like the value across the board. The Omega Squadron Aces with Fanatical and Advanced Optics. It feels aggressive. The games might go really quickly, but that's not a bad thing. I've never complained about that myself. Yeah, good fun. Dig it. We have one more list by Philip Parigo with Blackout, Midnight, and Commander Malaris.
Now, Blackout has Trick Shot, Prime Thrusters, Proton Torpedoes, and Afterburners.
Midnight has Swarm Tactics and Targeting Synchronizer.
And Commander Malaris has Swarm Tactics and Advanced Optics.
Let's just quickly talk about Swarm Tactics first, because it's the thing that stands out to me as being potentially a little bit bloaty. Swarm Tactics essentially allows you to pass Initiative 6 off to all of your ships. You pass to Commander Malaris first, and he passes it over to Blackout during the engagement phase. We did see this recently in a top 16 at the Oz Nats with Wedge Antilles, Garvin Dreys, and a Siege to Ketu.
Yeah.
The reason why I like it in that list, and I'm not so convinced of it working on this list, is because there was a reason to make everything activate at Initiative 6 during engagement. You could pass focus tokens and do all of those shenanigans before your opponent has a chance to react. In this, you're just firing Initiative 6. That has value. I'm not convinced it has enough value. So, I think about different talents across these guys for sure.
Yeah, Fanatical.
Yeah, Fanatical's good.
Yeah.
Especially on Commander Malaris. Midnight can play more of the ace role that doesn't want to get hit.
Yeah.
Initiative 6, so there's options. But even like Fanatical, you're saving a point across both, increases your bid. Very relevant. You've got an Initiative 6 and a couple of Initiative 5, so yeah, that's good.
Blackout's good. Trick Shot, gotta love it.
Yep, Trick Shot and Proton Torpedoes, Afterburners and Prime Thrusters, going for max value and giving yourself all the tools to get there.
Yeah, imagine using Proton Rockets getting the extra dice because you're shooting through a rock and making them lose the green dice. You are just going to feel good.
Dice for days.
Yeah.
And it's not crazy. It's not so crazy.
It's 96 points.
This almost feels like, what was it, Fen Rao with Fearless and Advanced Proton Torpedoes in first edition where you go like the 7 dice attack.
Yeah.
It's not quite up to that. What are we talking? We're talking 5 dice and negating 2 of your opponent's dice. It's still pretty significant though.
Yeah.
But it feels way more realistic, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yep, firing through a rock, you've got prime thrusters and afterburners to make sure that you get all the positioning, all the abilities. There's a targeting synchronizer in the list with Midnight as well, so you don't even have to take target locks.
And because you've put the swarm tactics on there, you are going to be flying very close together. Yeah.
Yep.
I see why you're putting swarm tactics on there. You're wanting to fly them all close together.
And just like eviscerating initiative 6 before you get a chance to react. It's still situational with Blackout. You're going to want to break formation to get those shots through the rocks, so I don't think there's a guarantee that that's going to be... It's like, I want to fly this way, I only ever want to fly this way, and if your opponent counterflies it, then you don't really have tools to deal with that. And from that reason, I just think Fanatical, being the value card that it is going to just... It's just going to give you incidental value, make your attacks a bit more powerful across the board, and that is probably just better in most situations.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway. Then your bid is 6 points instead of 4 points, which is definitely better. I think like 5 points is the baseline, so getting it up to 6 points is good. Apart from that, it's just a dedicated ace list. I like those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those a lot. It reminds me of like the 3 of Imperial Ace list that we saw a lot of in first edition, kind of seeing a little bit of in second edition.
Yeah. I'm thinking I might try something similar to this as well later.
It's good fun. And Blackout's just this really fun, exciting pilot. He didn't really see that much play in first edition.
I loved flying him though.
Yeah. With the environment in second edition, with dice modifications being not as prevalent, I do find him interesting. Especially now Trick Shot is a lot better than it used to be, just based on everything going on. I'm very curious about Blackout. I think his points cost and the environment just makes him way more enticing.
Yeah. Not only that, Commander Malaris, it's glitter stim.
Yes, glitter stim. Also with advanced optics, it means you basically going to convert all your dice at range 1 if you want to do that. I will say advanced optics is a little bit awkward with Commander Malaris because you have to take focus tokens and it only helps your attack. So if you don't roll blanks on your attack, then you get no value out of that focus token.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about those situations where you get behind your opponent. You're going to sink 3 dice into them. You take a focus token to go, okay, I'm pretty much going to convert every single dice.
Yeah.
You guaranteed like 3 hits. If you get multiple blanks, then you get multiple blanks. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes.
Yeah. These things do happen.
Yes. Oh, they do. Yes, indeed. But cool. I like the idea of a dedicated 3 of ace build. I think it's definitely worth experimenting with. Yeah. So thank you, Philip. That looks really, really cool. And thanks to all of our submissions, we're going to continue talking about all the Wave 2 stuff in the coming videos, but for the time being, we'll get back to the 3 original factions. Yep. Still a lot of hype surrounding those, so we're not going to just talk about this new stuff for the time being. If you'd like us to have a look at your lists, if you're a patron, go onto the Discord and submit it in the relevant channel. If you're on YouTube, just copy the text and the link, preferably yet another squad builder or launch bay next or whatever you're able to give me. That would be fantastic. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Reddit. Please consider supporting the Patreon. Thank you to all our existing patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome. We'll catch you in the next video.
Bye.